little bit ridiculous, but we'll manage. Thanks very much also for the nice introduction. I accept Giant of Ljubljana because it's a small shitty city, so easy to be a giant there. No, it means nothing. Okay. I just feel bad for you. My God, go and read a book, even if it's a book of mine, better than standing here. But okay, free country, your choice. No, I nonetheless want to do some relatively serious things tonight. I don't want to focus on what I'm supposed to talk about, my new book, Violence, which basically comes together with the other book, In Defense of Lost Causes. Like, there is a tense relationship of censorship, because I had to cut out some things from Violence, I put them into the other book, and so on. But what I want to focus on today, it's almost the opposite of violence, is politeness. All these unwritten rules of politeness, civility, which I think play the central role of how ideology effectively functions today. Or, to put it in the terms which are, in the last 2-3 days, very actual in your electoral politics, no, what's that doc that you put the lipstick on of Sarah Palin's? Bull something. Sorry? The bulldog? No. Pitbull. No pitbull without lipstick, no? Lipstick is ideology you have to put on. So, your first reaction probably will be, am I crazy? Ideology. Where is ideology today? I mean, where do we live today? In what kind of society? Isn't it clear that we live in some sense in a post-ideological society? Now you will say, am I crazy? Didn't I see what Republicans are saying? Our country first, sacrifice, war, whatever. No, but nonetheless, I think that these are all reactive phenomena. That the basic way the society addresses us today, like what society, its symbolic space, what does it expect from us? It's no longer to sacrifice yourself for some cause, to dedicate your life to a higher duty or whatever. I think basically we are addressed as enlightened, like slightly spiritualized hedonists. The order, as it were, today is be truly yourself, realize yourself, and so on, all the possible variations on this. So, where is here ideology? Let me give you a somewhat simplified definition of where I see ideology. Ideology is not, for me, some crazy, abstract, intellectual edifice, articulated worldview made to distract you from real problems, to mystify them. It's the very way we perceive real problems. Ideology is efficient because it deals with very real problems, ecology, racism, and so on. The mystification is in the way it formulates, perceives these problems. The lesson is that there are not only wrong answers to questions, there are also wrong questions, in the sense that the very way we perceive a problem, which can be a very real problem, the very way we perceive a problem is effectively a part of the problem. It mystifies the problem. That would be ideology. What do I mean by this? Let me give you immediately one or two examples. Tolerance. Why am I against tolerance as a slogan? Of course, this doesn't mean that I'm for intolerance. I know very well that problems like sexism, racism, and so on are very real. But let me focus, for example, on racism. The question to be raised, I think, is why do we today, at least this is my impression, correct me if I'm wrong, why do we today automatically, as it were, tend to translate problems of racism into something which concerns tolerance, as if the mode of functioning of racism is that you don't tolerate the other. I don't think this is by any means self-evident. Look at Martin Luther King. Download his speeches, search, look for words tolerance, intolerance. They're practically absent. You will not find them. For him, it would have been obscene to say that racism is a problem of tolerance. The same as for you, if you are, I hope you are feminists, it would have been, I hope, obscene for you to claim our feminist struggle is so that men will tolerate us more or whatever. It's ridiculous. For Martin Luther King, racism is a problem of equality, economic exploitation, legal rights, racist prejudices and so on, anything but not intolerance. So, you see, here it comes ideology. Serious problem, racism, I claim. The designation of tolerance, putting tolerance up in front as the main category to catch racist phenomena, mystifies it. Why? Because I claim it basically depoliticizes the problem. Instead of talking about economy, political power, legal power, we talk about cultural prejudices. And we end up, I'm sorry to tell you this, it will maybe shock you because I'm some kind of psychoanalyst, you end up with psychoanalytic traumas and so on. Like, no. Like, I noticed this when in South California, they deal with this resentment towards Mexican immigrants. You end up, if you are at the cultural studies department, with what inner traumas do you project into Mexicans so that you don't tolerate them, and so on and so on. So again, so why do we do this? That's the true question. I claim it's precisely the sign, one of the signs of our so-called post-political era, where we less and less talk about economy, politics, political structure and so on, and more about culture wars. That is to say, all phenomena, the only way practically to introduce passion into politics, to get out of this grey expert dialogue is to move into the domain of culture wars. And that's what does this say? As I developed in one of my earlier books, I think the lesson is that the two guys who appear to be opposed, Francis Fukuyama and Samuel Huntington, are really two sides of the same coin. You know, Fukuyama, the end of history. That is to say, even if there is a long period of struggle, blah, blah, we have found, according to him, the formula which is, if not the best, at least the least bad of the possible world. Capitalism with liberal democracy. Huntington, on the other hand, as you know, predicts the clash of civilizations, that is to say, culture wars. But I claim culture wars are the mode of political struggles at the point of the end of history. I mean, I don't really think that we are at the end of history, but one has to be very careful here. There is something in our experience which fits this designation, the end of history. Precisely this post-1990s feeling of big ideological projects are over, we live finally in an era which, again, found at least the least worst of the possible worlds. So, this is where I see ideology. Or, let me take another topic, which we are all well aware of how serious it is. Maybe it will even decide our lives, my God. It's a very question of survival ecology. Of course, it's a very real problem. But I claim ideological mystifications, investments are all the more strong in ecology. Like, just think about all this New Age mythology of Gaia, Mother Earth, that is to say, the notion of nature as some kind of a balanced, homeostatic, organic, holistic, whatever system,